Davante, you came here, you took less money. You could have got more from Green Bay. This is a team you grew up loving. I know this team in the offseason will make decisions that you don't have a say in. But if they get you a quarterback that you know can get you the ball, do you want to come back and be a Raider again next year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I came here, I wouldn't have been here or ended up here originally probably, if Derek wasn't here. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I won't be here, in the event that he's not here. That's my boy. Obviously, I got his back through anything. I think I've made that more than clear at this point, and I support him and support everything that he has, moving forward as well. But my dream was to play for this team before he was a Raider, obviously. And at this point, I want to, obviously try to make this thing work and continue on doing what I'm doing here and, myself get better and obviously see the team grow and get better as well.
Davante Adams from yesterday speaking with reporters. He also said he wants to have input on who the next quarterback's going to be. Now, if Josh McDaniels is straight from the mold of Bill Belichick, the reaction is going to be, it's none of your concern. That's not your job. Do your job. So there's still the possibility this goes sideways. If he's not happy with the response that he gets to that stated preference to have input in who the quarterback's going to be, or if he's not happy with who the quarterback ultimately is, that could be a potential problem for Davante Adams and the Raiders. But there's a lot of guaranteed money in that deal that runs through next year. Hard to walk away from that. And you don't have a whole lot of options to sign the contract. And these guys are adults. They know that there's a chance the guy you're coming to work with isn't going to be there.
That's right.
For some reason after this season. Derek Carr didn't have a contract extension when Davante Adams was traded to the Raiders from the Packers. So there was a chance they didn't work that out. So there's a lot of potential issues there, and teammates come and go. Players change, and Davante Adams, if he he doesn't have many options. It's either play for the Raiders or play for no one, unless you can go to the Raiders and say, I want you to trade me. They can always say no. Just because the Packers said yes doesn't mean the Raiders would say yes if that's what he decides he wants.
No, I agreed. And one, yes, we know Derek Carr was a big reason he was there, but he discussed he wanted to be out in the West Coast, right? We hit on this a little last week. His grandmother had never seen him play. She's, in California, so that makes things very easy now, right? There was more to it than just the Derek Carr. Also, I just think that, one, I would bet McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, GM, that they're going to converse with Davante Adams. They know how important he is to their own football team and what they want to do in the McDaniel offense. That's why they were willing to pay him and trade him, because they value that kind of receiver, the route runner, the technician that way. So they understand the value there. And as I said last week when this move was made, I don't think they make this move unless they knew Davante Adams was on board with it. Davante Adams is going to say all the right things. But like I got to discuss last week, I bet you there was a number of games where, you said, what was the comment last week? He probably went home and went, man, they cut my friend, grandma, or family and all that. But I was like, hey, well, there's probably some games he went home and went, man, my friend didn't throw me the ball and I was open a lot today, right? So I would think McDaniels, being as smart as he is, made a few mistakes his first time around, maybe with a superstar receiver and Brandon Marshall. He knows how delicate the situation. He's not exactly like Bill Belichick. He is, like him to a degree. I understand that. But I would think that he had the backing of Davante, and I would hope that they have a little conversation with him to let him know what's going on and the quarterback thing and all of that. But, yeah, ultimately they decided Derek Carr wasn't the guy for their future. And it was shocking in how it went down, but I don't think it's shocking as a whole that he's not the guy of the future. I don't think we should be surprised with that by, Derek Carr's career and what happened this year, and where Josh McDaniels and, they came from in New England and the guy they had the quarterback and what they're used to. I don't think it's shocking when you put all that together.
Chris, I mentioned the financial angle here as it relates to Davante Adams. There's a team issue that needs to be addressed as well.
Yeah.
We've talked about the decision to put Derek Carr in bubble wrap because he's got a contract that has $40.4 million in injury guarantees that become full guarantees the third day of the 2023 waiver period. The first day of the waiver period happens right after the Super Bowl. So if he can't pass a physical before that money goes from injury guarantee to full guarantee, he gets the money. It's fully guaranteed. So you can't get him injured now with a short fuse on whether or not he's going to be healthy enough for the Raiders to cut him. That's why he's not playing. I say that because in March of 2023, under the contract that the Raiders gave to Davante Adams, $42.92 million becomes fully guaranteed. His salary for this year, a roster bonus for this year, and his 2024 salary of $16.8 million. A total of $42.92 million becomes fully guaranteed in March of 2023. So they may decide they want to trade him. They may decide they want to move on. They may decide they don't want to make that commitment to him, especially if they're not going to have a quarterback that they think is going to give them the ball as much as they want. Now, the market has changed. It's you could argue $42.92 million fully guaranteed that's paid out over 2 years is a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
But that's part of the analysis the Raiders are going to have to engage in as they kind of reshape this team moving into year 2 of Dave Ziegler as GM and Josh McDaniels as the head coach.
Yeah, they definitely got to figure that out. But you know, to everything you're saying, listen, I think they're totally sold on Davante Adams, and I think the reason Derek Carr is not there is because he didn't take advantage of Davante Adams as much as they would have liked him to. I think that's one of the issues of where, you know, they were at, or, you know, Derek Carr and that relationship was at. So I would just be shocked if they, you know, didn't continue this relationship. They got something here where, like we talked about before the year, this could be a rare combination when you talk about, you know, Darren Waller coupled with Davante Adams. We've seen some pretty good offensive showings with both of them on the field. They can be dangerous, and I would think that combination right there is one of the reasons McDaniel loved the Raider job and maybe wanted to take it in general. So I think they're going to continue to formulate around that tandem right there, and now they just got to get the quarterback that they believe will feed those guys as much as they believe they should be fed on a game-to-game basis.
And the bottom line is this: if you're going to keep him for 1 year, you're keeping Davante Adams for 2 years. So if you're going to pair him up with a great quarterback, it better be a 2-year plan, which could maybe take Tom Brady off the table potentially if they're thinking about keeping Davante Adams. Or they would just say, we'll find another quarterback in 2024. We'll still have Davante Adams, who will still be one of the best receivers in the NFL. But the bottom line is, he's not demanding to be included in a Derek Carr trade package. And again, I think it's going to be very difficult to trade Derek Carr, if not impossible.
That's right.
He's not asking to be released or traded or whatever. Derek Carr gone, doesn't matter. Davante Adams will still be staying with the Raiders, but he does want input in who the next quarterback is going to be, which could be a little bit of a pressure point. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.